Great. So just digging into tips and tools. This is centered on getting kind of feedback about how people are responding to your program right now. So I have some kind of watch outs first. I always like to lead with them, but I don't want to dissuade you from getting feedback because I think that's important. So first and foremost, consider and create safety. So whether it's cultural safety or mental health safety, or health when it comes to interpersonal interactions, I'll always put that at the forefront. And if cultural safety is a question, potentially have someone who is from that community gathering the information and creating a safe space for them would be a great way to go about doing that. There's other ways to do that as well. We can dig into it if you want. Next is consider the burden versus the benefit. So for example, if you're considering sending out a little survey to understand how they're enjoying the program that you have online, great. I think that's probably one of your best tools right now. But in designing the survey or in designing whatever tool you choose to get that information, just consider the time burden versus the benefit. Try to start with what data is available to you. So Amos mentioned sometimes it's hard with confidentiality issues to share information across organizations. But it's possible that some organization has gotten data on or feedback from their community that they can share in an anonymized, aggregated fashion. So you can get a general sense of what a representative population is going through if yours is heavily burdened and you can't necessarily go to them and ask a lot of big questions about what's going on in their lives. Observations are also great. So Emma mentioned a great example of the staff coming together and checking in. And I'm assuming that they're also kind of sharing their observations with their interactions with their youth. And at this time, like, the validity of data still matters, but we need to expand our understanding of what valid data is. So in evaluation, we often think, oh, we need to get like formal surveys that are designed in best practices. I still emphasize using best practices, but we can also rely on observations and anecdote, as long as we sense check ourselves, understand that we're coming from this place of bias, and we have multiple perspectives looking at that information and interpreting it. Is anyone else already collecting this information covered that? And then when it comes to asking questions of your community, whether it's like a phone call or a survey or whatever method, clarify, get clear on your questions first, of course, and ask only what you can act on, or at least prioritize that. I think that's really important, again, to consider that balance of burden versus benefit. So really think about, what do you want to know? And what will be done based on what you learn? Simple questions, but they can actually be powerful tools for focusing your inquiries. So if you do survey, make it short and snappy. And I have a survey best practices slide deck from a presentation I did a while back. So I will share that around with other resources that I collect. And I'm happy to kind of do a quick once over if you want me to look at something and let you know my feedback. And if you don't do that, even if you do that, please test it with somebody who is representative of someone who will take the survey, so they can share their experience. The most powerful question being, what do you think I am asking here? And also, I've offered through email, if you didn't get it, tell me, a needs assessment template. And this is kind of meant to be a catch-all for everybody. Delete what you want, add what you want. The neat thing about what I tried to do with it, and I want to improve it, is there's a part of it that can be repeated. So you could do it every 2 weeks or every month, a quick check-in to see how people are doing over time in terms of mental health and other issues. Again, tailor it to your context. Another tool, if internet is an issue, computers are an issue, get on the phone, and you can ask the same powerful 3 questions periodically of the group of people you're serving or their parents or what have you, and have a rubric. And so you're filling out a survey as they're talking to you on the phone, and it might be like, how are they feeling today? And then you have kind of a scale, and you say on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being, awesome, and 1 being feeling very sad, have them pick a number and you note it down. So basically delivering a survey in a verbal fashion could be really helpful. Keep it simple and focused. You can also do so if you're doing a lot of online content, whether it's through your online platforms or whatever, you can certainly embed polls in there. I'm about to poll you. And that's another quick way to get real-time feedback. I want to point your attention to one of the many tools that are out there, but Poll Everywhere is great because it's not just a poll, but you can also do it in a lot of different kinds of formats. You can have people pop up ideas and then everyone vote on them, and you can have better ideas rise to the top, for example, if you're trying to brainstorm a solution together. You could also host a collective sense-making session. This could take about an hour or two, depending on what you cover. And I'm happy to, take us through one next time or in a future session so we know how to do it. This is a way to get a bunch of information from a lot of different perspectives and try to make a little bit of sense of it. Organize that information in a way that makes sense for us. And one last tip is documenting your process. So what you learn from each of these probes for information, document it, because it's going to keep changing over time and you're going to forget what it was like 2 weeks ago. And it could be really important later, for example, for communicating to funders about what you've done or marketing yourselves, but also a good learning piece internally to capture what you've done and what you learn from it so that you continue to build on what you learn. And the last piece, I don't know why it's missing from here, but it is there. Build into existing touch points, or you can make it an assignment. So if you're delivering assignments or activities for kids to do, you can make it such that they're actually giving you a little bit of information, be forthright about your intentions, but giving you a little information about what's going on in their day. So for example, if you're trying to understand how kids are engaging with an online platform, for example, you can give them an assignment to potentially photo document their day. Take 5 photos throughout the day and write a sentence about how it's going, if you're curious about what their typical day is like. Or you could keep it just to the online process. Take 3 photos or a quick video and a couple of sentences about your experience. You can ask 3, focused questions. How are you feeling? What are you doing? And I don't know, something else that might be relevant to what you want to know. Keeping it simple, consistent, and building it into what you're already doing. There could be creative ways to go about doing that. If you want a thought partner to help you think of ways to do that, I'm happy to brainstorm. Not an expert, but I do enjoy kind of helping with that creative process. So happy to do that. So those are the things I would like to offer. This will be compiled with other things related to our conversation today and a little bit of a resource list that I'll send out by the end of the week. So now I'd like to open the floor for our last few minutes to questions, either for me or for the group. So I'd love to hand it off to the group. Any other questions or thoughts, concerns? Great. We've been together for a while, so I get it. And it's time to move on to our work, so I get that. If you do have questions, ping me. I'm always available. And if we're ready, I'd love to, no problem. I'd love to move on to the poll so I can learn about, we can all learn from each other, what we'd like to cover next in our next session, which might be next week, an hour and a half, maybe during lunchtime. If you prefer a different time, let me know. This is all for you. So I want to make it appropriate for what you need. So I'll stop sharing now, and I am going to send out a poll. You can select as many options as you like. If there's an other box, if you have another suggestion, please type it in the comment box. So I'm going to give you a couple minutes to do that, and I'll bring us all back and we'll say goodbye. So sending the poll to you now. Does anyone need more time? If not, I'll end the poll. Perfect. So I'm ending the poll now. Can you see it? No, you cannot. I will share what came out of it. So the top choice is how to know if you're being successful and impactful. So fun. Let's dig into that one. Coming up next was learning useful tools to set the organization up for quick decision making and prioritizing. Fun. I love nerding out on this stuff. Great. Kind of in third place is a tie, collective sense making and navigating strategy. And then we've got kind of further back with three votes, cultivating yourself as a tool for change. And then the rest are a bit lower, so we'll deprioritize those. Thank you for this information. I'm excited to prepare something about how to know about defining success right now. What does impact mean right now? How do we know it's happening? So let's dig into that next time.